Hi, this is James Alfont. We're back for another program from the STEM Pro. Today we're going to be giving you some of our knowledge because that's the whole purpose of this program, to give out STEM collecting knowledge. If you have any, write to me, let me know what you think is important for STEM collecting. First thing I'm going to do today is bring us into the 22nd century. Why do I say 22nd? Because I think this is what's going to go down the line. The reason I record these programs and don't sit down and write them is because little by little, people have been reading less and watching videos more. People are looking more on their phone for answers, and they want a short, quick, and precise answer to their question. So today I'm going to try to bring us to the 20th century. Now, in the good old days, we had immense amounts of stamp albums, immense amount of stock pages, and we would preserve the stamps that way. That has not changed. What I'm going to propose to you today is to do this following thing. You could get an external 2 gigabytes hard drive in which you could sit down and you could put photos of every one of your stamps, every one of your envelopes, every one of your catalog pages, every one of any book that you have that you think is important for you to preserve or have preserved for the future. The second reason I want you to do this is because at times I look for a stamp and I simply can't find it because I don't know if I put it in the 1855, if I put it under revenue stamps, if I put it as an official stamp, if I put it as a cancellation stamp, but I know I have it. But if I go into my USB, look it up, find it, and need to send a picture to somebody, I can do so. One of the most interesting things that I've seen is that a lot of stamp clubs, a lot of stamp people are doing Zoom meetings in which they contact each other and say, hey, how are you doing? Hey, what about this stamp? You go into your USB, you hit a button on Zoom, and you share that photo information in seconds. The other reason I think it is important is because with these USBs and with doing it digital, you can make a comment and say, hey, this should be sold this way, this should be sold that way. Hey, be careful because the catalog is going to tell you that this stamp is worth 25 cents, but with this special cancellation, it is worth $2,000. Oh, didn't know that. I have a friend in the Central Florida Stamp Club, and he has a stamp that's worth about $22, but it has a special gold or yellow cancellation, and there's only about 4 or 5 known with that type of cancellation. They are worth more than $5,000. The stamp, no. The cancellation, yes. So that is the information you're going to put into it. The other thing you could do digital is very simple. You could create your own album the way you would like it. If you want to put it by years, 1873, the 6 stamps that were issued that year, you could put 6 stamps up for new, 6 stamps down for used, and you have a page the way you like it. You could create it with flags, you could create it with logos, you could create it with any way you want. You could put in that stamp album the difference between the first retouch, the second retouch, the third. You could put down the differences of colors that were issued, the type of variants of colors. You could create your own thing. Albums up to now were too expensive because of the cost of paper, because of the cost of ink, and at the end, they are a royal pain because they will say this is a yellow-green. Well, some people have difficulty. As a matter of fact, I know of people who confuse red orange with orange. They're 2 different stamps, and if you look at them, it's kind of easy for me, but I know there's been people who have difficulty. This way, if you take a picture of it, you could put it right next to it, and you know you have the right stamp. The other thing is that you could do it your way. Sometimes Scott goes by year. You might have a theme that you're going to try to go into, so you could put your theme that way. You might want to combine the regular stamps with the airmail stamps all on the same page. Or you might want to create them in different pages. You create your own album. Doing it digital is very simple. You could do it with Word. You could do it with any system that you have. Yes, there are some places that you could go and create your own albums, but the problem I have with them is that basically they follow Scott, and Scott leaves a lot of stamps out of it. And if you specialize in a country, you will realize how much Scott leaves out. At the same time, you might want to decide, hey, I'm going to put here the regular stamps, and in the following pages, the errors, the freaks, the changes, the whatever I have here. I could put in a third page the cancellation from this town, this town, this town, and make the album the way you want it to be. And that is one of the advantages that we have now that you have did a computer. Sit down and create your own thing. And if you want to go a step further, I have a friend of mine who sent me this one. He has his stamps and a description. And I know that didn't come out well, but I apologize. But you can do it the way you see fit. Create your own album. You could write in it. You could comment in it. You could put how much you pay for it. You could put where you purchase it. You could put the catalog value. You could put anything you want in your creating your album. We have digitalized. Everybody has a scanner in their house because basically everybody has a printer, and in that printer, if you need to scan something, you have a scanner. So the days that scanners were super expensive are gone. So you could maybe have to put them up to 600 dpi's, but it still can be done. You have to reduce them so you can put them in space. That can be done. You could create your own page, basic pages with the borders that you want, with the letters that you want, with a picture of the flag if you want to put a picture of the flag, if you want to put the coat of arms of that, if you want to put the logo of the American Philatelic Society or anything else, do what you want. Because at the end, you are creating your album because all you have to do is take the time. Now, some places you might find them, but you're going to have the problem that you might have errors that you want to include. You might want to collect from that country the revenues. You might want to collect from that country the postcards. And when I mean postcards, is the postal cards that you address people and that. So create your own album. The other thing that you can do in your digitalize is put the stamp, put the number, and if you want to create your own numbers, you could put, like I do, PR1, PR2, PR3, but then you tend to go into, with all due respect, you could put the Scott number, you could put the Stanley Gibson, excuse me. You could put the Michael, you could put the Avert, whatever catalog you like, you could put that number there too. So you put number 1, green, yellow, 1873, king such and such, because I say king because in the 70s up to the 1900s, the face of a stamp was a king, with the exception of France that didn't have kings, so they had their logos. But most places like Austria, like England, like Spain, and other Denmark and others had the face of their king. So you put the name of the king, if it's number 2, 3, 4, and that way you can make your own catalog and you can give it your own numbers, and you can even put how much you pay for it there, so in case when you die, your family can come around and know how much you think that you should get for that stamp. Last but not least, because you can digitalize, I collect used postcards. And if they're addressed to such and such, I read in the back what they're about, and I put them in top of one page, and in the bottom, I write down the description. You could do that on a computer in 5 to 10 minutes, hit the printer, double it, and put it in there. So this is all things that now that everything is digitalized, you could do real quick.